Before history books were written, myths and legends have been passed down from generation to generation. They have helped us to understand the world and our place in it. It is time for our backgrounder, and it's put together by Frances Ogbe.
Wonderful stories for you. Number one is make hay while the sun shines. Did you hear me?
Yes, Auntie.
That's number one story. Say it.
Make hay while the sun shines.
Stories are central to human culture, transmitting values, lessons, and traditions that shape our identity and behavior. They preserve heritage, provide moral guidance, and influence how we understand the world and relate to others.
Myth actually refer to traditional stories that try to explain origin, like how the tortoise got its back, it's a myth. How a society was established is a myth. But then legend, very closely linked to myth, talks about people who have done extraordinary feats in their community. Moremi, there's also a story of Moremi among the Yoruba who also did the same kind of feat, became a legend for her society to save her society. You have the legendary story of Queen Amina. Some historians have argued that there was nobody who lived at a point in time by that name. And then some people will tell you Queen Amina was Bagi. So that is another thing that is often linked to myth.
Throughout history, myths have provided societies with frameworks for behavior, often serving as moral compasses or cautionary tales. In many communities, myths about supernatural beings or spirits encourage respect for nature and communal living.
When we were children in my community, you'd be told that once you are sent and you delay in coming back, if your mother kills a small ant, or little ant rather in this case, before you get in, you will not be able to walk straight. You'll be walking like the old people. Children will run to deliver the message. At least nobody wants to walk like an old person. As to whoever became like the old person, we don't know. But the best thing is to avoid it happening. But it ended up creating a spirit of what? Delivery, or I can say respect, but it's actually service delivery. Our societies were creating these stories to actually make children learn. And once you've done that for your mother once, you've done that for your father twice, you've done it 3 times, you're used to it. You're not coming back again to say, okay, I'm afraid of the ant. It has become part of your culture. So they use it for formation of character. They were myth. When you meet elders and you don't greet them, something bad was going to happen to you. So we meet elders, we have to greet them. Now, subsequently, it becomes part of our lives, and whether there is a myth or no longer a myth attached to it, we continue to live a respectable life.
In Nigeria, the birth of twins is surrounded by myth, cultural interpretations, and rituals that vary across ethnic groups.
The interesting thing from my study of myths in Nigeria is that almost every culture in Nigeria, and I'm nearly sure all cultures, associate twins with some magical or extraordinary powers. Most cultures will say they can bring fortunes, they can bring bad luck. And indeed, they can bring fortune if they survive. But if you are to lose 2 children in a day, that also can be a terrible misfortune. So when you look at it from a very Afrocentric view, you would see that yes, today they are mythic, but then what we are talking about, they are mystic thing, but what they actually thought about it in the past has a lot of sense in it. But I do know that most parts of Africa, they did not just look at them from a negative point of view. There was the negative, they might, and then there was a positive.
For young Nigerians, myths about hard work, communal living, and respect for elders still resonate, shaping the way young people approach life and relationships.
With myth, our African society could control the youth from not doing things. When I was a child in my village, in the North area, you cannot pluck a mango when the elders have not declared the plucking of mangoes open. Once they have put something like we have sanctioned this mango, you can't take mangoes, you won't take mangoes until the day the sanction has been lifted. It was a myth. It is believed that once you touch the mango, the masquerades will see you and they will respond. And indeed, in whichever, I don't know how they did it, but there were times the masquerade actually responded to the norms and customs of our society, and we respected it. We need to re-inject the teaching of our culture in civic education to bring in the myths of African societies. For every myth that exists in a language group in Nigeria, it has a message. So we need this kind of myth to be back to the schools. We need this kind of myth to be back on social media. We need this kind of myths that are gainful to us, not myths that project us as if we are all people of witchcraft.
Myth and legends are more than relics of the past. They are living narratives that shape who we are and how we relate to one another. Our focus on Weekend Deal today will be on myth and legends that shape us.